All right, yes indeed. We give thanks and praise for this new day, for another chance, another opportunity to heal and to serve the Most High and to connect with you who's on the line. I so appreciate you being here this evening, and to those of you who join me later in the recording, I appreciate you as well. So, welcome once again to another episode of the KemeTones Self-Care Healing Webinar Series. And for the past several months, we have been focusing on healing post-traumatic slave syndrome with sound. This has been based on the teachings of Dr. Joy deGruy with her book, Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome. And we're meeting every Tuesday when Wi-Fi allows or plane flight arrivals, departures, etc. Whenever my schedule permits, I've been able to be here on Tuesday evening, 5 p.m. Pacific. And we're on, even though the slide here says step number 6, tonight we'll be on step number 7, and there's 10 steps. And when we're done with the 10 steps, we will get back to just studying various topics in self-care, and then later on we'll revisit the Sankofa steps, because this is a perpetual, ongoing healing process. So this webinar series, we use KemeTones Cosmic Sound Healing, which is a healing system that is based on the principles of Chinese medicine, only we use sound instead of needles. We use acutonics tuning forks that are tuned to the planetary vibrations and various celestial configurations. Tuning forks are placed directly on the body or in the energy field based on the teachings from traditional Chinese medicine. Now, if you've been following Cosmic Sound Healing for a while, you know that traditional Chinese medicine is actually African in origin, because the first peoples of China were what? Black, of course. So when we apply principles of Chinese medicine to KemeTones, we're actually using African technology and science and applying to a contemporary yet ancient healing system. Like I said, each tuning fork is tuned to a different planetary frequency. Since each planet corresponds to a different god or goddess, then each tuning fork also corresponds to one of these cosmic forces of the universe. My name is Kachia, and I'm originally from Chicago. Here is a photograph of me in front of the Daily Center and the Picasso, whatever that is. And I grew up in Chicago, and I've been going there a lot recently since I inherited an apartment building. So all of this healing work, self-care healing work that I'm doing on this webinar, I'm also utilizing with myself in my own life. And I am grateful to say that I have definitely seen some transformations since I started this process of healing post-traumatic slave syndrome with sound. Anyway, I grew up in Chicago. I went to undergrad in Oberlin College in Ohio. I went to graduate, and I got a degree in physics. I went to University of Texas at Austin to study astronomy. I was assaulted a few times and dropped out. And the next phase of my life took me to being a reggae artist, homeschooling mom, festival producing, co-op organizing, etc., musician, and then moved to California. So anyway, if you want to learn more about me, just visit my website, tchiya.com, TCHIYA, and I'm also on social media. I recently wrote a song about my experiences since becoming a landlord. It's called Tenant Burn. And since, well, so many things have happened, but I'm going to be launching the song, relaunching it as a giveaway. At first, I was launching it as a fundraiser, but now that all that is behind me, I'm going to be relaunching it as a giveaway song, so stay tuned. Every KemeTones session begins with a HeruScope analysis, which is a 13-month sidereal Kemetic astrology system based on the actual motion of the sun and the planets across the constellation. In addition to being based on the sidereal motion, at HeruScopes we use the Kemetic archetypes and energies in doing these readings. And so we always start these sound healing sessions with a reading for the day. Now, since yesterday was the full moon on the summer solstice, we're going to spend a few minutes talking about that, and then a few minutes talking about tonight. There's not a whole lot of difference, except that yesterday the sun was still in Taurus, and then at some point during the day, I don't know the exact hour, probably the exact hour that the moon was full, the sun moved to Gemini. So on this chart, you see the sun is still in Taurus, and then the next chart for tonight, the sun is in Gemini. But anyway, let's talk about the solstice. Yeah, okay. So the solstice is the time of year when the sun stops. The word solstice means sun stops. And we have two solstice events in the year. We have the winter solstice and the summer solstice. The winter solstice is around December 21st. It lasts for 3 days, so it could either begin on the 19th, 20th, or 21st, 22nd, 23rd. You know, it's kind of different every year, but most people assume it's always on the 21st. Like, people think today's the solstice, but actually it was yesterday. But since it lasts for 3 days, because the sun appears to rise in the same position for 3 days, on the 21st, you're perfectly legitimate or honorable to speak about the solstice because it's still in the energy of the solstice, because yesterday was the actual solstice. So we had the sun was still in Taurus, and then the moon is in Sagittarius. Now, you know, that is a thing about sidereal astrology because it's based on the actual motion of the planets. So most people were probably thinking that the full moon was in Scorpio, because Scorpio is supposed to be opposite of Taurus. But as you can see here, Scorpio only lasts a week, and we have the whole constellation of Ophiuchus to deal with. So in reality, the moon, was it full yesterday or today? A lot of places are saying it's today, a full moon Sagittarius. You know, that is just cutting it a little too close for me. I think because the type of person I am, I just look at both. I look at the sun in Taurus and the sun in Gemini. The sun in Sagittarius and the sun, the moon in Sagittarius and the moon in, good question. So the significance of the full moon occurring on the solstice. So let me go to this article here. I think I have it set up to show. Okay. See where? June solstice. Here we go. June solstice, full moon in 2016. So this is the first time since 1967 which was known as the Summer of Love, that we had the full moon on the solstice. Like this article states, it was happening like right before the solstice, or right after the solstice, or right before the full moon, or right after the full moon. But yesterday was the first time since 1967 when this happened. 1967, I was 6 years old. And, you know, yesterday I, for some reason, drove out to the coast to have an offering to Yemaya. I had some organic watermelon with seeds, so I decided it was the perfect thing to do. And I didn't really plan very well, and it was really difficult getting home. And, you know, usually the solstice is about things lining up, like you lining up with the axes of the Milky Way galaxy, the axis of the Earth, and the 4 seasons lining up with the 4 seasons of the Milky Way. So it's always a time about alignment. But I think the thing that was different about, what happened to the camera? Oh, there we go. The thing that was different about this full moon and the solstice is not only was it a time for alignment, but it's a time for illumination. So, like in my situation, I think I learned beyond a shadow of a doubt not to do that again. I didn't take drinking water. I didn't take extra drinking water. My eye condition flared up. I should have stayed the night, but I wanted to get home. And I got to experience the full moon, and the moon was telling me that I should have stayed home because I was sleepy on a windy road. My eye infection flared up, and I couldn't see clearly. And it was one of those long country roads where there's no gas station or anything on the road. So that was pretty much my experience. Things have been lining up. Things have been getting taken care of. But as far as taking care of myself, which is the subject of this webinar series, I could have done a much better job yesterday. So that's kind of what I learned from yesterday's experience. And I'm going to be looking into this a little bit more now when we go over the chart. Okay. So yesterday, the full moon in Sagittarius. Okay, I had to travel. Now, if I had thought more clearly, I would have stayed the night and spent the full moon on the beach. But for some reason, I had to be traveling during the full moon. That's kind of funny, right? I wasn't content to just stay at home. And then obviously it was a transit for the sun from Taurus to Gemini. Now let's look at this from the HeruScope perspective. Ra was in motion from being stable and nurturing and full of abundance to today. It's in the sign of Gemini with the sign of with the constellation of Venus. So we were going from Apis to Mahi, which is the duality. So, and seeing the beauty in that path. So I think what I have to learn from that is to not beat myself up about it, because I had a very good reason for getting home, and I was trying my best to be responsible. But I could have been more nurturing to myself and stayed and slept. But the most important thing is to be, forgiving myself and see the beauty of the path that I was traveling with the full moon, even though I was pulling over to sleep every few minutes. I'm rambling. Okay. And then across from there, we have the full moon in Sagittarius, or Pimai. So we're dealing with, that's interesting. Once the sun was actually in the sign of Gemini, which is across from Sagittarius, we're dealing with these with this duality sign here, with Gemini and Sagittarius wanting to always to move or to escape or to travel. Now, applying that to our studies for tonight, and I said I was going to give a little extra time because it's the solstice and so much stuff. I would have to say that since this is something that only hasn't happened since 1967, when I was 6 years old, there's some sort of parallel that's going to become more clear to me later on. I don't know what that is right now, but and then it's not going to happen again until 2037, I believe. They actually said it depends on which calendar you use. It happens either every 19 years or every 30-something years. So I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to focus on this urge to travel that I had, to go make an offering. I just had to go to the ocean, and I didn't take preparations. And to me, that kind of, well, I'm going to go more into that when we get into the subject. The subject for tonight is racial socialization. So again, yesterday with the full moon at the solstice, which is a time of alignment and illumination and reflection. In my personal case, I had this urge to go to the ocean and make offerings to Yama. For some reason, I didn't stay for the full moon. I went during the day, and I wasn't fully prepared. I was really focused on getting back in time to do work. So, yeah, let's see what happens. And then tonight, tonight's alignment has the sun has definitely moved into Gemini, or Pi Mahi, and the moon is definitely in Pi Mare, Sagittarius. So they're definitely opposing, whereas yesterday they were not really opposite signs. And the other planets are still in the same constellations they were in the last time we spoke. So I'm mostly just focusing on these here, with the moon and the sun. And with the sun in the sign of Gemini, that's the sign of duality, the sign that's ruled by Mercury or Jehuti, and the moon or Shasheta is in the constellation of Pi Mare, which is ruled by Jupiter or our moon, Chaos. So we have this time of expansion and travel and illumination. And then over here we have this time of creativity using our intelligence, the cosmic force of intellect and teachings, writing, and then the beauty path, the path of Heru, the path of Venus. So that is what we're going to be working on with our tuning forks. And let's see, I see you able to join on with the computer screen. So I haven't muted anyone. If you have any comments or questions, you should be able to just start with this button, speak out, or leave your comment in the chat room. And this portion of the program is probably a little bit confusing because, like I say, I don't really prepare ahead of time. I get the charts ready, and then I just am reflecting what's coming through me. And I'm reflecting on the things that happened to me yesterday while I'm talking. So I'm kind of figuring this out while we're moving forward. So again, during the sound healing session, we're going to be working with, come on, button, with Ra and Jehuti and Heteru. We're going to be working with Shasheta and Pikaeus, or Jupiter, for expansion, fullness, building, protection. Yeah, it always comes together. Okay. So tonight we're on Sankofa step number 7. Again, this is based on the teachings from Dr. Joy deGruy on post-traumatic slave syndrome. This is based on the teachings from the workbook. And this step is called Racial Socialization, Cultural Preparation for the Future. And that can be translated or interpreted in many different ways. I have the definition here from an article from the Huffington Post. This has become a very standard resource. What is that? Oh, some butterflies. Among Black parents, racial socialization is informal education whereby they transmit to and instill in their child. Oh, looks like part of that got cut off. Let's see if I can fix that. There we go. Let's start it again. Again, this is from an article called The Necessity of Racial Socialization, What White Adoptive Parents of Black Children Should Know. This is from an article in the Huffington Post. And then there was also a definition in Wikipedia, but I didn't get to add it, so I'll read that later. Anyway, here's the definition. Among Black parents, racial socialization is informal education, whereby they transmit to and instill in their children knowledge of the values, aesthetics, spiritual beliefs, and all other things that give cultural orientation to existing while Black in America. Or another way of putting it is the oral story, the oral tradition, the things that we don't learn in school, the things that we learn out just from being around Black people. And I think I have a really interesting commentary on this because of my experience raising my own children and how they are today. I raised my children as Black Hebrews with Cherokee. We homeschooled them. And their dad and I were in a reggae band. We traveled all over with world music festivals and different bands. So my children were exposed to lots of different culture from the diaspora. However, I homeschooled my children, and there were not a lot of Black children or even brown children in the homeschooling group. So even though my children receive knowledge of values, aesthetics, spiritual beliefs, culture, diet, spiritual practice, yoga, history, the whole thing, one of the children associates with being Black or Black Mexican, and the other one has totally alienated herself from her roots. So this is a very interesting subject to me that's near and dear to my heart. And I'm looking forward to seeing what comes from future discussions and future work, because my goal is to apply these teachings and this protocol to a group of Black people or brown people, members of the diaspora, that are healing from post-traumatic slave syndrome. All right, so here, before I go further, I would like to take a moment to invoke some of the ancestors that are associated with these tuning forks and with the planet. I did not make a slide, and I'm so interested in the subject that I have forgotten that part. So I'm going to go back to this chart. And do some chanting to acknowledge the cosmic forces and ancestors that we'll be working with tonight on the topic of racial socialization. Basically, that means what is it that we need to teach to our children so that, we have black people in the future. Because the way it is right now, there's a lot of targets towards eliminating black people and black culture, black youth, black men, black families, black wealth were being targeted. So, when I was growing up, it was thought to have whatever we had in America, we have a black version. And I think that got us so far, and we need something else. So I'm going to invoke on the cosmic force of creativity, intelligence, and beauty, because part of the work that we're doing together is to build a system or a healing protocol that can help bring our nation out of post-traumatic slave syndrome. And that would definitely include what we're going to pass on to our children. So we're going to invoke this cosmic force of Jehuti, Ra, and Heteru. And then one for all the Neteru. Duara, 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 kepra. Duara, 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 kepra. Duara, 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 kepra. Duara, 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 kepra. Adorations to Ra, adorations to Ra, adorations to Ra in the form of the Creator. All right. This is a song, Heteru Aha. Aha. Aha is the Medu Neter term for stand up, when you're asking the cosmic forces or the ancestors to stand up on your behalf. And this is a song to awaken the cosmic force of Heteru within us, to awaken us to the beauty path, to see the beauty in all things. And to, Heteru is also the lady of the life force energy, the second. And if you've seen images of Heteru in the temples or the hieroglyphs, she's usually holding an ankh and carrying a sistrum. And my ankh is in the other room, so I have to imagine I'm holding it. I have one around my neck, so maybe that'll count. Heteru imsekima kenetrita kenevitawi kenevize ubintawi rakatiri neteruri anatertere kenevitawi kenevize kenetrita nefter. Heteru, raise yourself up, stand up in your true form as all majestic goodness, the goddess of life force energy. You are the mistress of the world. You are all-encompassing divinity, the light of the world. The people on earth and the gods and goddesses all praise your name. I don't know the translation by heart. You are the mistress of the world, the light of the world, all-encompassing divinity. Heteru, the great goddess of divinity. Okay. So right now we have the Sun and Venus, or Ra and Heteru, are both in the sign of Gemini, which is ruled by the planet Mercury. So now we're going to invoke Jehuti, the cosmic force of intelligence and the teachings and writing And, Shasheta is the one who created the hieroglyphs, and Jehuti is the one who taught it to the people. Do a Jehuti, do a Jehuti, do a Jehuti, do a Jehuti, do a, do a, do a, do a, Jehuti, do a, do a, do a, do a, Jehuti, Jehuti. Jehuti, Jehuti, Yes, Dua Jehuti is adoration to Jehuti, or giving thanks and gratitude for the cosmic force of intelligence, intellect. And then when we say Nupu Jehuti, that means I am Jehuti. I am the cosmic force of intelligence. I am the cosmic force of writing and the teaching. And that's exactly the powers that we need for tonight, because we're dealing with what we want to pass on to the children and how. Why? We already know why, but what and how. And the other cosmic forces for tonight are Shasheta, who is about illumination and fullness. The goddess Shasheta is associated with astrology, astronomy, writing, mathematics, but building, and the personality. The moon is associated with the personality. And then Sagittarius, of course, is the wise elder, the teacher, traveling, etc. So that's going to, play into this somehow. But we're going to focus on using our creativity and beauty path to create something to pass on to the children to benefit the racial socialization. All right. Let's get back to our webinar. Okay. And again, Sankofa means going back and fetching from the past to help us in the present. Learning from the past, learning from mistakes in the past, learning from our ancestors' experiences, not just shutting them off and acting like we weren't enslaved for over 400 years, or acting like Europeans didn't come to Africa and steal just about everything they could, and then turn it around and make us pay them for it. Yeah. And don't get me started on China. Okay, again, among Black parents, racial socialization is informal education whereby they transmit to and instill in their children knowledge of the values, aesthetics, spiritual beliefs, and all other things that give cultural orientation to existing while Black in America. Now, one thing we need to remember is that today, and I need to be taking notes because this is important what I'm about to say. One thing we need to remember is today, the youth can choose if they want to be Black in America. They can change their appearance. They can change their culture. They can move to a neighborhood where there's no Black people. Like my older daughter, they can stay out of the sun so they don't get brown. They don't have to be Black if they don't want to. They can look Black but live non-Black. So that's the first thing is, like when I was raising my children, I felt like I was trying to convince them to carry on the tradition, carry on the legacy. Like it was a competition between us having candle lighting and them watching TV with their dad. Or, when they got older, they got to choose if they were going to go with us to a cultural event or stay with their relatives and just, watch TV. So we have to really make it worth it to them, because it is kind of a competition, because there's distraction everywhere. So we have to like be able to answer to them, why should they bother to do these things? Because they don't really have to. They don't want to. They can get their eye color changed. They can change their skin color. They can get fake hair. They can bleach their hair. They can change their accent. You know, they can do lots of things to not appear black in America. Okay. So another thing is we'd have to look at is when we send our children to school, they're not getting our values. Even if they go to a black school, they're getting values of black brainwashed people. They're not getting like black values. They may know about fried chicken and Juneteenth and Kwanzaa, but they are not going to know about Marcus Garvey. They're not going to know about the Maroons. They're not going to know about the, you know, the Seminoles. They're not going to know about being sovereign. So then we have to figure out, well, are we going to send them to school and then when they get home have more school? No, we need our own education institutions. We need our own institutions, basically. So then we have to figure out, how can we get our own institutions? And then once people start institutions, how can we get people to support them? I mean, there's lots of black-owned businesses that I know of, but I don't feel like we're connected. So we'd have to like really unite, have a united front if we wanted to have positive racial socialization for our children, so they would, you know, what is it, pick up the baton. It's like a relay race from one generation to the next. And right now, when we're passing the baton to the next generation, more than likely they're on their smartphone. They're not looking at us coming around the bend. You know, they're not even thinking about that. A lot of them. I'm not going to say all of them, but those are just some things that are coming up for me right now. So yes, it's a necessity, but like even the title of this article, what white adoptive parents of black children should know. What about what black parents should know? I mean, a lot don't think about it. They just take it for granted because this is how they were raised. But maybe we're not thinking about it as a war, as a spiritual battleground or a cultural warfare that our children are subjected to the minute they step out of their house. Because that's what I realized. Even though I was homeschooling my children and they had black culture at home, their friends, their social life was not like providing a battle, a protective shield. Their upbringing was more about being conscious. It was not about being black, because I just took it for granted. You know, well, of course, I'm black. My children are going to be black. But that is not necessarily the case. So those are my comments on that for now. Because not only do we need to raise them to be black, we need to raise them how to respond to white inferiority complexes that are being projected as white supremacy. You know, how to raise them so they can combat. Well, I have a book called The Red Dragon. You know, you raise your children to be a certain way, but then the Babylon system is waiting there to suck them up like in a flash by something they put in their food. It could be something on TV. It could be something they heard at school. You really don't know where it's going to come from. So we need to raise them to be like defenders of Ma'at, basically, from an early age. Not just they know about Ma'at, but, you know, to be ready to fight, not like physically fight, but spiritually, or when they're at school, they're ready for these type of conversations. Like when my children would go visit their relatives, my relatives were always trying to sneak them food that they knew we didn't want them to eat. But my children at age 3 and 5 were like, no, our parents wouldn't want us to eat that. So they were ready for that. They were ready. But what I wasn't ready for was them ever having a doubt that they were black or Mexican or indigenous or native or brown. You know, I never in a million years dreamed that one of my children would abandon her roots and her culture in favor of the culture of the oppressor. You know, that was a shock. But then I also find out that that's not uncommon for children of quote-unquote revolutionaries. So maybe we need something special for children of revolutionaries. I'm taking notes here. Okay. All right. So these are the let me see if there's any questions or comments before I go to the next section. Yes. Okay. All right. So these are the questions posed by Dr. Joy deGruy in the book, in her workbook. Given the effects of racist socialization, now let's just say racist, or do I just need my glasses? Nope, it says racist. Okay. Given the effects of racist socialization, which of your beliefs and behaviors will you retain or discard? Well, I think given the effects of racist socialization, the thing that I have discarded this year is the whole concept of white supremacy, because one of my good friends, Craig Bright, made it blatantly clear to me that they are not superior, and every time we say white supremacy, we're giving them more power. It's actually a white inferiority complex. So I have already discarded the concept of white supremacy, and now I'm dealing with the white inferiority complex to the point where I actually have compassion for them because they're so ignorant of how far off they are. And then it's so refreshing to meet people from the North, Europeans, who are aware of these issues, and you can actually have conversations with them. So, you know, those things right there, like for instance, I was at a restaurant with my daughter the other day in Chicago, and we were in the neighborhood called Hyde Park, which the University of Chicago is trying to like turn it into another uppity white Chicago neighborhood, but there's still lots of black people that live there. You know, so we were in a restaurant, and you know, one of her friends works there, a bunch of her friends were there, and I said to her, you know, for a minute I forgot where I was. I forgot I was in Hyde Park. She said, oh yeah, why is that? And I said, well, because this restaurant is packed and there's only one white person in here, and he's not even really white. And she says, oh yeah, what? She looked around and said, there's no white people in here. And then she had to catch herself because one of her friends is there, but he's one of these white people that he doesn't give off the vibe as white. He doesn't even really look quote-unquote white. So, you know, those are some of the beliefs and behaviors that I have discarded and some that I am retaining. You know, there are some people of the North who know what time it is, and I'd rather hang out with them than some of these brainwashed, ignorant people that are going to vote for Trump, for example. Okay. How will what you have learned be different from what you will pass down to future generations? Well, when I was growing up, there was a lot of pride in black power, you know, buy black. And today I still believe in the power of buy black. However, I have run into so many black people that have been infected by white greed and corruption that I will never trust them, ever. And so what I'm passing down to future generations is that, yes, there is a concept of blackness, but it is not determined by the color of skin. There is something called blackness that we all share. It's that root that we all share. But being able to discern between who we can trust and who not to trust really is about trusting intuition. And so I'm hoping to pass on to my children how to use our intuition in our business, use it in our spirituality, in our business practice, and not keep it separate. And I don't know if that has to do with racial socialization, but that is something that I am planning to pass on to my children, because our ancestors knew the skills of abundance and all of these tools that we've learned in so-called New Age. And so that's what I'm going to be passing down to future generations. There is something called blackness, not the color of skin, and there is a way to use our intuition to help all kinds of decisions. Yeah. What will you teach succeeding generations to better prepare them to function as healthy people of African descent? Well, I think it's really important to have a community where we can share our spiritual foundation. Like, even if every family has a different spiritual practice, we do share something, like I said before, our blackness, whatever that means to you. That is what's being targeted. And so, like, I raised my girls kind of in isolation. I raised them knowing the truth and the teachings, but I did not emphasize coming together with other black families. So I think that is really important, because we're so isolated now with the internet. It's important to come together as families and share what we're teaching our children and what we're learning, and like these healing techniques. So that's me answering these questions, and we'll see what comes up in the healing session, which is coming up next. So I really just answered those questions for myself based on my experience raising my children. If I were to take it out further to our nation, I would have to say we have to discard anything that we learned from the Europeans. Now, a lot of that, what we learned from the European, he learned from our ancestors. So I'm gonna hold on to the stuff that they stole or learned from our ancestors. But anything that they're pushing on us right now, like vaccinations, microwaves, Christianity, homosexuality as a civil right, all of these things I would discard. And I'm only retaining things that will lead to African redemption or indigenous sovereignty. I think we have to really just nip these issues in the bud, nip them at the source. How did it begin? That's when it began. We had differences, we had issues, we had greed and corruption. But once we interacted with the Europeans, things just went from bad to worse. All the things that we do to the environment. Our people, no indigenous people anywhere, not even the indigenous people of the North, were trying to destroy the environment to make money. That's what we have to discard. For our nation, what have we learned as a nation? Different from what we'll pass on to future generations. I'm speaking truthfully and honestly from my heart. I think our generation and the generation before us, we got sucked into thinking We got sucked into that whole homosexuality agenda. I'm not saying that I'm against homosexuals. I understand why they're so prevalent in our society because of the imbalance in the lifestyle that we have inherited. It's like a symptom of the imbalance. And rather than healing the imbalance, we're making the symptom of the imbalance normal. That's like saying it's normal to have cancer and have all these people dying from cancer. And that's not the truth. The truth is we need to go back and see what's causing the cancer to grow, not say that it's a good thing if you have cancer because so many people have cancer. So I think that to future generations, we have to be, again, more discerning. If we want life to continue, if we want black life to continue, if we want indigenous life to continue, we have to make decisions. And a lot of these decisions are going to be against what the white man is proposing for us, what the white man is manipulating to trick us. That is what I think we have to do. And it doesn't sound very nice, but what they're doing to us is not very nice. So it just depends on what side you're on. You're standing up for Ma'at, for nature, or are you standing up for the right for people who are sick and imbalanced to be making decisions for the entire planet? I mean, that's pretty much how I see it. What will you teach succeeding generations to better prepare them to function as healthy people of African descent? Basically what I just said. Stop killing the environment. Stop making people who are symptoms of the imbalance and ignorance running rampant in the world to be the norm, like Trump, like transgendered bathrooms, all of these things. Now they're considered normal, but they're just signs of the sickness that has taken over the entire society. Well, not the entire society, the dominant society. Oh, I hear somebody talking. Comments? No? Okay. Yeah, I was just going off there. Okay. So now let's, oh, I took too long. Let's transition over to the sound healing. Oh, no, 5 to 6. Oh, no, it's okay. I thought it was almost 7. It's only almost 6. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to the other studio, which is just the other side of this desk. All right, so let's see. For this week, for this Sankofa step, I have here Nebuchadnezzar and Geb. Nebuchadnezzar is the cosmic force of the spiritual life on the physical realm. Like, you know, it's us, the physical embodiment of the spiritual, of the divine. She's represented by a container of water, and her headdress is the complete opposite of the headdress of Aset. And I didn't take the time to post her image here. Let's see if I could find one quickly. You don't see a lot of images of Nebuchadnezzar without Aset. Some people, you know, don't think too highly of her because she did seduce her brother-in-law and got pregnant, but, you know, that's another story. Let's see if I can find a picture of Nebuchadnezzar. But she is very crucial to life on Earth, to be aware of the divine while on Earth. Let's see. Oh, good. I have a picture of Neverhead. Oh, that's a good picture. Let's see, where is it? It's not a very big picture. So I invoke Neverhead when I am, trying to bring about order in my home, in my day, in my life, and I focus on the positive. Okay. So there's an image of Neverhead. And you see her headdress is the opposite of the throne of Aset. Aset has a throne. If I can use this. Never. Okay, yeah, that's like the oops. I did this before that I don't know how to get out of it. Oh, good. Hey, that's progress. Okay, so you see the throne of Aset is opposite of this headdress of Neverhead. And in KemeTones, oh, so it's going to stay there. In KemeTones, the tone for Neverhead is Neptune. And then I also have the tone for Geb, which is the Earth in a year. For step 7, we want to deal with the energy of independence. We want to break free from Babylon, which is the tone for Heru or Uranus. And then also have a comment here about mothers with baggage. Sometimes baggage is a good thing. As mothers, we have to carry lots of things in our bags to help our children out. So, looks like I have that twice for some reason. Yeah, I have that twice. So let me go to the page and see where I messed up. I'll have this. Oh, here we go. Okay. Now that throne of Aset is going to stay with me. Okay, so this page is back up. It has the protocol for PTSS. And I see a mistake in my chart there, so I'll come into this one. Solve the extraordinary vessels. Oh. Same thing. Okay. Okay, so there's a typo here. Oh, well, anyway. All right, so let's go on with this. So we're going to have Neverhead and Geb. And then we also have the tones for Ra and Jehuti. The full moon and Jupiter, Sagittarius. And then we've got some tones here for balancing. Okay. Still, something is missing. Let me just check one more place. Something is missing. Oh, no, there it is. Neverhead and Geb. Okay. This is necessary. Okie dokie. So, let me just open. I don't know how to get rid of that Aset chair phone now. Erase all drawings. Hey! Okay. Okay, so with this healing session, the intention is to get some illumination on what is important for us to pass down to our children that, didn't really know about already. Get some insight on how as well. What practices to leave behind and what practices to hold on to. Okay? So we're going to call on Nevidhet and Gab to help us get started. Let me start with grounding. And then how this comes in, how this is in harmony with the summer solstice and the full moon, with coming into alignment with the Milky Way, illumination on how to build this system, using our creativity and the beauty path to pull together the teachings and pass on to the future generations. So this is probably a really important step, and I don't know how far I'm going to get in this session, but it's definitely going to be one I'm going to give more time to in the future. I think it's actually what all of my work is about. Let's think about it. I'm going to start with grounding on the feet. And again, if you don't have tuning forks, you can use your raw seiki, your crystals, your stones. There's so many ways you can direct this cosmic energy to remove blocks and bring about movement in your life. It's not just for physical ailments. It's for healing spiritual ailments, ancestral, intergenerational. All these type of ailments can be addressed with sound. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to use the Nevidhet and Gab. The three treasures. To remove any obstacles to my meditations, my thoughts, my desires, keep them in alignment with my purpose and with my creativity. So I'm always using my energies to manifest my vision. It's so easy to get distracted. So we're using this combination to put things in order. Things are out of order right now, and we're in the summer solstice. It's a time of alignment, coming into order. Now we have Ra and Jehuti. So you can't see it. I'm just putting it on my my kidney points. This is 4 finger width below my belly button. And this is where your purpose is stored, your genetic blueprint, your DNA code. So we want to be able to access my creativity and my ability to communicate. Right now I'm moving upwards, so I'm eliminating blocks. Then we use the high frequency force and we come down to manifest. That's how we do it at KemeTones. I'm also going to there we go. Let's grow chocolate. It's easy for me to express what I create. So it's also, you know, easier for me to promote and market, because that's what it's all about these days. It's easy to be creative, but if you want to really share it with others, you have to be able to communicate effectively and reach your audience. And also find a way to communicate with the youth. We don't want to have any generation gaps, right? So here we have Heru and Jehuti. And I've spoken at length about the relationship or the story about Heru and Jehuti. I'm not going to go into it right now because I want to have more time for meditation. But here we are eliminating any blocks to expressing our truth, our beauty path. Being able to share with others in a way that they'll listen. They'll be receptive to what we have to share. We don't want any generation gaps. All right, and this is a very important one, balance. Got the male and the female, male and female, Mars and Venus. We want to pass on balance to our youth, to our children. We want them to be aware of the balance in nature, not accept the imbalance as the norm. Be aware of the imbalance. You know, we're not going to disregard the imbalance, but it's not the norm. We're going to look at what caused the imbalance in the first place so we can bring about healing. Okay. So the meridians, that's what was missing from that chart. Which meridians are we working with tonight? Kidney, bladder, light, or fight? Well, I think that we are, as a people, are stuck in the freeze response because we should be fighting. We should be fighting, and we're so complacent and afraid and brainwashed that we're just like, oh, it's okay. Yeah, it's too bad. Okay. So that takes us. I've already acknowledged that it's kind of hard to do the bladder meridians as self-care because you have to go down your spinal column. I guess you could technically if you had to, but I'm just going to do the kidney because that's easier. So where did that camera go? I don't know where the camera went. There it is. Okay. All right, so the kidney. So this has to do with water and movement. So I'm going to go with, since I didn't do this combination already, this is Jupiter and the Moon, Shasheta and PTSS, because that has to do with movement and water and fluidity, right? And expanding beyond our comfort zones, you know, not freezing. We're not freezing. We're taking a stand and we're taking action. And then I'll do these two, okay? So even though the chart only shows one meridian, you do both meridians, the left and the right side, because you have two kidneys. Even if you only had one organ, like you have one heart, you still do both meridians. So this way you just move along the toe, along the inside of the leg, up the chart. Oh, it's a little different than the one. So I'm just going to start on the toes. Move along my foot, the side of my leg. I'm just walking the tuning fork. Like just walking like this. But you could just move like from one point to the next. There's a lot of ways you could do it. The whole idea is to move the energy. I like to walk it like this because then you can, it's easier to feel places where the energy is stuck. Put one at the starting point and one at the ending point. Okay, and now I'm going to do the other leg. So this is to get us out of the freeze mode when there's some sort of trauma or something, you know, our nation's just like, oh, well, you know, we shouldn't buy things on the day after Thanksgiving, but it's on sale, so I'm going to go anyway. You know, that kind of stuff. Or, well, I know that Christmas is the white man's holiday, but we can only do Kwanzaa because that's when they give us the whole week off. That kind of stuff. That kind of stuff drives me crazy, just so you know. Don't ever talk to me about that, or you'll get a lecture. Yeah, we're frozen, scared, or you know, or they're killing all our young kids. But let's vote in the election because that's going to make a difference. Man, that is a definite frozen response. Okay, let's go for that. And then we'll go back to our chart. All right, I like this one for independence. Heru, mothers with baggage. Okay, so independence. We want to pass on information that will raise our children to be independent and to be warriors. So that's definitely Heru. And well, that reminds me of another song I want to sing. And I don't know the translation exactly by heart. So I'm going to go get it. Yeah. This is a really good chant when you're about to go into some sort of battle, like going into the courtroom or going to talk to some stupid corporation about some bill or something. And it's a chant that invokes like the major deities, Jehuti, Aset, Asar, Antu, and Sekhmet. I can't remember which ones. They don't call them out by name in this chant. But anyway, it's like 5 powerful deities, and when you call on them, they'll stand up. So I'm going to sing the chant, and then I'll read the translation. Meti, Jedi, Erasu, Ahanetudindiu. Meti, Jedi, Erasu, Ahanetudindiu. Meti, Jedi, Erasu, Ahanetudindiu. Meti, Jedi, Erasu, which means all words, all spoken about me from outside of me, for instance, others saying things about me, and also from inside of me. For example, negative egoistic self-talk based on fear, anger, insecurity, frustration, etc. The Neteru, those gods and goddesses, together they stand up for me on my behalf. So it's like a real, like, wow, you can feel the energy. You feel the support. Okay, so here we are putting together something for the youth of today, racial socialization. We are putting our cosmic energies together to come up with a strategy or plan or curriculum, something to help prepare the kids, prepare the children. We don't call our children kids because those are baby goats. That's what Louis Farrakhan would say. Sometimes I catch myself saying kids because I don't have enough community. Okay, so we have Heru for independence and I'm going to go with Nibiru. Heru and Nibiru. I'm going to add this on here. Because Neperu represents, at least with acutonics, it represents the code, knowing the code, the DNA code, or whatever it is you need to know to unlock a mystery. So I think that's going to be really useful for this step. Because we want to know exactly what to say, exactly what to share with the future generation. And then I chose the Daimai belt, and I'm going to choose another one. I know I usually choose the Yin or the Yin way. Something's telling me that this is something else. Oh. Okay. Okay, yeah, I'm going to do the Chong, but that's the one for intergenerational, and that would mean, like, if we could teach ourselves, when we teach ourselves, our children will just pick it up just by being in our presence. Like, I remember when I was pregnant with my first daughter, the one who's rejected all this anyway, but when I was pregnant with her, I read to her in my womb, I read to her, I talked to her. When she was born, I was always reading and sharing with her. So I know that's in her, but she's just rebelling. My younger daughter, it's in her, and she's embraced it. So if we focus on ourselves, it'll definitely have an impact on our youth. So that's another way of looking at it. Okay, so I chose the Daimai and the Chong. Let's go with Chong for this one. Okay. I like those two a lot. The ones that come around the waist or the belt or the middle. Okay, so their extraordinary vessels are perfect for doing self-care because you just use 2 points. They're not connected to any particular organ, so you don't hear about them a lot in acupuncture. But at KemeTones and Acutonics, we use them all the time. So again, I'm going to use Heru and Heru for this one for racial socialization. It's not really convenient to show this on the screen. I'll do my best. There we go. Youth of today. It's interesting, and when I go to Jamaica, we're going to be putting on a show. It's the whole month at the Nanook is dedicated to the youth. So we'll be putting on something for the youth. We'll be doing some sound healing sessions and stuff. Okay, and then for the Chong, the other belt, extraordinary buckle. I'll switch feet around. I'm going to use the same tuning fork. Do that one more time. All right. Now we're going to switch to the high frequency fork for manifesting. And one combination I like to use for protection. Do that one too. Balance in the male and female energy. Now we got this side. Using our creativity to share the teaching. to express our divine intelligence. And Jupiter and the Sun is a combination for protection. So you can heal if there's any holes in your aura. It's supposed to be the combination. Because you have these opposites with the soul and the full moon. Jupiter and Mercury. All right, so Screen says pause. Oh man, I wonder how long I had it on pause. Sorry about that. Thanks for letting me know. Yeah, I noticed that red. Okay. Again, thanks for letting me know. Okay, so that was the healing protocol for Sankofa step number 7. And thanks for my my attendant who let me know that the screen sharing was paused. So I don't know what type of presentation this will be in the recording. But that's all right. But yes, at the end of that session, I really felt my energy had shifted. And I was just about to comment that I'm looking forward to seeing what comes this week if I'm inspired to put together something in a way that can help address this need for conscious racial socialization. I mean, we have plenty of racial socialization with the TV, but that's more like programming. But something conscious that would be unique. Okay. So we went through the some forks based on the planetary motions of the day and also just based on the Sankofa step itself. We did the 3 treasures. Then we did a little bit of work with the meridian for flight. Then the extraordinary vessel. And this is a typo here. And as far as remedies, that would depend on what we're able to come up with in the future to pass on to the children. Oh yeah, there's a picture of Nevid Hecht, who helps us keep order in our home, in our lives. Okay, so some of the things that are coming up with KemeTones, August 1st through 10th, be in Jamaica for our next Reggae Wellness event. We're going to be performing with the reggae band at a couple of concerts on the islands. We're going to have on August 7th, there'll be a special day for Kemetic Wellness at Nanook. And there'll be an introduction to KemeTones, presentation there, opportunity for sound healing sessions. And I'll be available for appointments the whole time I'm there in Jamaica. Then in January, we have the KemeTones Level 1 Certification Retreat, also in Jamaica, where you'll be certified to be a KemeTones sound healer practitioner. Then coming up online will be the Open Your Money Flow program, and the Naku Bliss program will be opening up again soon. And I have to say that I feel like the work that I've been doing just on myself with this self-care program has helped me a lot. And I'm really looking forward to sharing it with more people so we can see how it has an impact on the lives of others. And, like document the results. I am going to have a Level 1 certification retreat in California in 2017, sometime in the spring, out in Mendocino, right there on the coast. So for those of you who are like, am I always going to Jamaica? Yes, I like Jamaica a lot. But I will still have some opportunities for the training here in the States. And as far as most of the events, they will be out of the country. So I don't know if you have any questions, any other questions or comments. I don't know. I'll look at the replay and see if I need to repeat step 7 to have a better replay for posterity's sake, or just keep this one. Okay, so if there's no further questions or comments, it's already a little past 6:30, but I'm still going to go ahead and have a meditation. And God will quiet down. So I invite you to get into a comfortable seated position. Either seated on the ground or in a lotus posture, your legs crossed, or with your back straight, seated in a chair with your feet firmly on the ground. I think I got that mixed up. Let me start again. Seated on the floor with your legs crossed, back straight, or in a chair with your feet firmly on the ground, back straight. Okay. And let's begin by taking a few deep breaths together. Inhale, and allow the abdominal area to expand with fresh sekhem, fresh prana. Inhale all the way up to your crown chakra. Hold it for a moment. And exhale, releasing all toxins, all negativity, all insecurity. Let it out. Again, inhale. And let's make this inhalation a deep inhalation all the way from our roots, our cultural roots. Inhale all the way up, 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 up to the stars, beyond our body, beyond our auras, all the way up to the stars, to our spiritual roots. And then exhale down, spiraling down, releasing all doubt, fears, negative thoughts, negative habits. Let that all go. There's nothing left but pure light. Now return to normal breathing. Inhale from the earth to the stars and back down. Just get that cycle going. A few rounds. Now back to normal breathing. All right, on your next inhalation, I'd like you to visualize yourself in front of a group of young students. There's some students in kindergarten age, some in middle school, elementary school, and high school. It's a group of beautiful black and brown children seated around you. And on your inhalation, I want you to slowly inhale all the memories that you can from growing up. Keep this inhale, different moments in your childhood. Just inhale. And hold your breath on it. And on your exhalation, just visualize you somehow passing on all that wisdom to the children, just from your breath. Exhale all your wisdom and experiences to be used all around you. And the next inhalation, I want you to inhale deep from your roots, from your ancestors, all the experiences of your ancestors. Just inhale that deep till it fills your very being, until you represent the experiences of your ancestors. Just keep inhaling slowly. We still got a little bit more. Inhale. Hold it for a moment. And on the next exhalation, exhale all that love and memories and energy and wisdom, all that experience in the ancestors. Shower this energy. Shower these beautiful children of all ages with this energy. Just exhale. And just shower them with love and wisdom and intelligence and experience. Now take a moment to watch them inhaling and exhaling. With each inhalation, they grow stronger. Their light grows brighter. They're more confident. With each of their inhalations, they're more powerful. They're even growing taller. They're expanding. Just from breathing in what we exhale. You inhale and you exhale and share with the children. And they inhale and they exhale and they grow. Just have a few cycles of this exchange of energy. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Just like the tree. Just like the relationship we have with the trees. We have the same relationship with the youth. We don't even have to say anything or do anything. They're just absorbing, just from our very being, just from being in our presence. They're learning and gaining so much. Just from our being alive. Inhale, exhale. Each time we connect with our ancestors or with our past, each time we heal from our wounds, just by being in our presence, the youth benefits, the youth grows, the youth are empowered, just from our being alive. This transfer of energy. When we tell our stories, share our experiences, share our finances, we share our blessings with the youth. We're empowering them. We're enabling them to fight. Fight the oppression. With each inhalation and exhalation, we eliminate the generation gap. With each inhalation and exhalation, we make this connection between us stronger. And our nation grows more powerful. And it grows brighter and brighter until it's a light that can never be put out. Just by breathing and sharing with you. On the next exhalation, your mind's eye visualize the youth growing stronger, wiser, and older, and sharing all that they've learned with the next generation. All we're doing is breathing. Just breathing. And as we see the youth growing, expanding, succeeding, winning, learning, building, as they exhale, we inhale all the blessings and we share in all their victories. As we inhale, the youth of today are the men and women of tomorrow. The lesson for me from this meditative journey is you don't have to do anything, you don't have to put anything together. You just have to keep living and sharing our stories with the youth. Keep gathering together, spending time together. This is the way we will succeed. It's Sankofa definitely. It's easy and effortless. It's already happened. Well, once again, I hope you've enjoyed this Sankofa step, the journey towards healing from post-traumatic slave syndrome. And we'll be here next week with more healing work, healing with you. And we'll post the replay as soon as it's available. Thank you once again for joining me, and I look forward to communicating with you online or via the telephone. Okay.